longer playing Mega Man, don't worry. We're having a discussion about the tilt. Yeah, apparently, Shikor, it's just one of those days. That's just a thing that happens. I mean, I could mention something, but I don't want to. I don't know, Malachor. You think that's bad? I get bruises all the time. I have no idea where they're from. It's like, where did that happen? When did that happen? So anyways, welcome to the Lakebed Temple. To be clear, by all accounts, this did indeed used to be the water temple from Ocarina. Same temple. Now, remember I talked about the whole morphic thing? That's kind of important to keep in mind, because this has actually a surprisingly similar layout in general structure to the water temple, but not in specific. In fact, I was actually looking this up just a bit ago. This actually was supposed to be entirely underwater. Or rather, is supposed to be entirely underwater. And it's only the fact that it's cursed right now that it's not. So, that's weird to think about. So let's do... Come on. There we go. Do I need that one too? I mean, I've been in a lot of pain in my life. So, whatever. Okay, that was a little buggy. That's treacherous. Don't you think you ought to knock the stalactites off the ceiling first? Translation. You can now use arrow bombs. So, you've actually been able to use bomb arrows ever since we got the bow, basically. But this is the first time it's not only mandatory, but commonplace. It's going to be a fairly normal type of puzzle encounter henceforth. So they really want us to use arrow bombs, or bomb arrows, or however you want to think of that. So I like how they do pretty much flat out say, hey, no, you need to be aware of this, and you need to do this. Now, because of the fact that we bothered to get the second... Oh, hang on. Gotta have the panning shot. I actually do like this dungeon. I'm going to get lost in it. I almost guarantee it. See, and the problem is I'm going to get lost in it because it has the same general structure of the water temple, which I just said. Anyways, because I have... Whoops, I screwed up. Holy crap. There we go. Because I have the extra move there, a lot of these combat encounters are actually be a lot easier than they would be. Anyways, so same general structure. You can kind of see that in the lower left here. Yeah, actually, Savicom. We will not be cheating this Lorerun. I don't need to cheat for Zelda. If you ever want to hear me give a really big compliment to a game, it's that I can do a Lorerun of it without cheating, and there are precious few games where that is true for them. I can name 2 right off the top of my head. Excuse me, 3. And all 3 are Blizzard games. There's probably more. No, don't be... I'm not trying to brag. We actually did have cheats for Ocarina. We just didn't need them. I like putting that no next to the cheats thing in the premiere run. That sounds so stupid, but I'm actually happy every time I get to put no there. I could probably get through the Arkham... I've never cheated in Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. Although, of course, that was an off-camera run with no deadline or anything, so, you know, shrug. I don't need those. I need this. Anywho, I mentioned the structure of this place. What I mean by that is there's a big central room with 3 layers to it, which you have to navigate up and down based on circumstance. And then there's the branches off of that. Is this the right way? And the branches are things you have to go through repeatedly and in different areas, or at different times. Nope, wrong way. I'm already getting lost. In order to be able to progress. Ah, yes, I need to go this way. My bad. I need to go east first. Right here. There we go. I'm found. Oh yeah, you can't roll up staircases. That amuses me. So you'll notice one of the... I don't actually remember if this is true in the original version. But in this version, there's a little bit of colorization that kind of helps to distinguish one area from another. We've got this little like kind of reddish tint to things, you know, which does help in, you know, figuring out where the heck you are or where you're going. Especially since a vertical dungeon doesn't usually work well in a minimap, as Metroid Prime will tell you. Yeah. I swear they sped this animation up, by the way. I was thinking that earlier. Or that. That's also a thing that could happen. Do this anyways. Yeah, like I said, Shikor, Metroid Prime's map, for all its qualities, was kind of confusing. So there's a little bit of backtracking in this one. See, now that we've got that, we have to go back and go up the upper right section. Which is actually up there. You can literally see where we're going to be going up there, because of the whole layered, tiered thing I mentioned. This kind of... So this is the way in which this dungeon is similar to the last dungeon. There's a lot of density to each room. And each room you're supposed to go through 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times as you're going through this place. You'll also notice that this is a very subtle point. So how many of you have never played this game? Quick question, because I need to ask you a question. Other than the question I just asked you. There are many questions in your future. Or maybe just one. Anybody? Okay, several of you haven't played this game before. So what I want to ask you guys, especially you, Platty. This is what I meant. You can't roll up hills. Is how many of you have actually noticed the gimmick of this dungeon yet? Now I'm asking that. I did it again. Maybe Shikor. Hang on, let's get rid of this guy. Yeah, I don't think there's a dungeon I don't like. I agree with that, Poogity. There we go. And that's okay. You know, no judgment here. I'm not here to be like, oh, you shook. Rather, what I am trying to emphasize is how the gimmick of this dungeon is kind of quietly baked into the background. I will point it out more obviously in just a second. Alright, you catch it? There it is again. I'm sorry, I'm being mean at this point. So the gimmick of the dungeon, how do I... hang on, let me do this. Is those things. You see those little red targeting things? Now, a large number of those throughout most of the intro parts of the dungeon have something on them. However, some of them don't. Now, the way the dungeon is designed is the majority of them don't actually have a... excuse me, do in fact have a thing on them. This is not where I want to be. Is it? I'm already turned around. In other words, most of them, in the beginning part of the dungeon, do have something on them. Later on, we'll see a whole bunch that don't. If you're paying attention, if you're really looking around, you will already have noticed there's several that don't have the thing there. You know, don't have something blocking it, put simply. God dang it, I was supposed to go this way. Wake up, Laura. Idiot. That's the gimmick of the dungeon. I point that out, though, and that's why... See, there's another one right there. I point that out because I think this is one of the better examples of weaving... what's the proper developer term for that? There's a concept in game development. It basically boils down to, this is something you can interact with. And... like, okay, in Super Mario... Let me use the most basic example of what I'm talking about. In Super Mario Brothers, if you see a question mark block... you know you can jump into it from below in order to, you know, make something pop out, right? That's what I'm talking about. There's a visual indicator in video games that always serves as a shorthand of you can do X with this. Now, most games have it either be tutorialized, or they show someone else using it, or they pop up a text window saying, hey, this is a thing you can do. This dungeon just kind of has these things, like that one. This is probably the first time you really get to see this thing. Just kind of there. And we are consistently interacting with them, usually by stuff that's hanging from them. Thus, we get the idea pretty quickly and smoothly that we are actually supposed to do stuff with them. So later on, when we see far more of the things that have nothing attached to them, it is now already in our minds, hey, that's something I can interact with. And that's important. Because when it comes to video game design, you always need to help define... I don't think I've ever done that before. You need to define what the player can interact with. Especially in more modern games, where there's a lot of terrain that looks like you can interact with it, but you can't. I mean, honestly, the doors I'm going through are probably one of the most basic examples of what I'm talking about right now. You know you can open a chest by walking in front of it and hitting A. You know that you can unlock a key thing. Not a keys thing, a key thing. By having a key, you know that you can paw through the door by walking through the door. All of that is really base-level visual indicators of interactables. But I wanted to give praise because I think this temple does a really good job with the interactables of the hookshot spots. So forgive me for going way off on a tangent there, but I did feel it was worth talking about because this game has really good design. I know, shocking, there's another one. Now, how many of you have ever gotten... So for those of you who have played this game, how many of you have gotten lost in this dungeon before? And I'll raise my hand on this while this cutscene plays. I'm invincible unless you have a bomb arrow. Oh god, he has a bomb arrow! He has a bomb arrow! Oh, I missed him. Holy crap. Oh my god. I've never had this happen before. There we go. He's super dead. Yeah, I will probably get lost in here again this time around. I almost guarantee it. And I know exactly where. And anybody who's been following my channel for a long time probably knows the story I'm about to tell. Because this is the room I got lost in. Now remember, thanks to the nature of how they design their dungeons, which is a good thing, it's worthy of note, you can go a lot of places, but there's only so far you can explore until you have all of the pieces of the puzzle, so to speak. You either need keys, or unlocks, or items, right? In the Fire Temple, the unlock would be the magnetic, turning on the magnetic fields. The item would be the bow, and of course keys are obvious. Here's a good example. You see one right there, it's pretty much shoved right into your face. There's another one with a torch on it, and there's another one without a torch. Again, visual design. Anyways, in this dungeon, controlling the flow of the water is the unlock thing. Hello, Takoida. But as a consequence, at this point in the dungeon, I can actually go quite a ways into this dungeon. Now that's relevant. Because I did. What happened, and I'll show you, what happened is I came up here, I was like, alright, chest, this is totally going to have what I need in it. And all it had was a bomb refill. There's actually a lot of bomb refills in here, which is good design, again, making sure ammo is plentiful for when you need it plentifully. And then I was like, well, I need to get up there. How do I get up there? I need that chest. How do I get up there? Maybe I go over here? Maybe I can't. Okay, so... You see it? Because I didn't back in the day. Now, in my defense, GameCube version, small TV, but I did not see that ladder at all. Now, when I was playing through this with my sister, this was before we did the stream of this. When I was playing through this with my sister, she was like, why don't you just take the ladder? And I'm like, what ladder? Because I literally couldn't see it. She's like, there, left. And if you're ever wondering where the left meme came from, that was the originator. She was telling me I had to go to the left to get the ladder. As a bonus point, she didn't see the ladder on the right, just the ladder on the left. So, controlling the water flow. So, we're actually not supposed to get that chest yet. What we're supposed to do is this. As I said, water flow, unlock. Now, I don't think that deserves a negative here, because it's way more obvious that the ladder is there in this version. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it is more obvious that a ladder is there in this version. even when replaying this game, it's actually pretty vague on the original GameCube version. Mostly because of the really low-resolution textures and the fact that it was pretty brown. It's probably... If I'd went to full-screen mode, it probably would have been more obvious, okay? I should have done that. That's my fault. I apologize. So... Notice how they continue to expand on dungeon design. Rather than simply relying on the same general tools, they introduce entirely new mechanics, like the idea of water physics. No, not like that. I mean, water affecting physics is a more accurate way to put that. So stuff that was stationary isn't now. Just a second. Yeah, I actually was just noticing that they clearly put an effort into improving the overall lighting of this dungeon in particular. I find myself wondering if I was not the only one having trouble telling stuff in here. So yeah, you can choose into bottles. That is a good question, Shikor. I don't have a good answer for you, admittedly. Yeah, it's funny. There's a frickin' toggle for the bloom. You'd think they'd just turn it off, but whatever. So obviously this is now a thing. Now, if I'm really fancy, I could just drop down to the right spot. What does purple jelly do? I'll be honest, I don't actually remember. Could someone Google that for me, please? What purple jelly does in Twilight Princess? Because I don't remember. Is this it? Yep, okay, just checking. It eats you alive. Well, let's eat it then. No, I don't want to do it. Ah, chance to heal, chance to damage. That makes sense. The text for it implied it would be a random chance thing, so that does make sense. So, the water flow's going, but nothing's happening. Although we have raised the water level. So that's something. If only we had some way of getting down and switching it in the appropriate way. Now, I wanted to show this off earlier, and it just occurred to me I haven't yet. So there's really nothing down here. In fact, I think there's literally nothing down here. I'm not sure on that one. Hey, Hushy Love. This is, however, how you get to the boss dungeon. In fact, the boss is basically through a door up here. The general idea of the dungeon, the goal, is raise the water level to the point where you can reach the boss door. Okay, that's funny. By the way, yes, those are skeletal fish, in case you're wondering. Aha, there is something down here. Yes, a frickin' stamp. Okay, sure. You know, I could see the dwarves making a fortress like this. I really could. Okay, so. That's an interesting question, Boogity. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think the stamps deserve a negative? Because, I mean, they're useless. They are 100% utter trash. You cannot do anything with them anymore. They are part of an online feature that was removed. And we all know our opinions on permanently removing online features. How do I... What's this one? There's the boss door, by the way. It's possible to glitch through it and just go to the boss. See, that's the thing. Does it detract from my enjoyment of the game? No. That's why I'm just kind of like... I mean, it's definitely not a positive, because it's just there, taking up space. And I'm pretty sure they replaced, like, rupees and the like. Don't quote me on that. Can I help you? God. Considering that... It's funny you say that, because they made rupees so much easier to get. Boogity. By virtue of effectively removing the money cap. Could someone do me a favor, look up what the wallet caps are in this version, by the way? Because I know it's much improved. I just don't know by how much exactly. Like, in the base game, the money cap was awful. The initial money cap was 99. Which, in addition to being a money cap, which is bad, as Takoya pointed out, it was also a very irritating money cap. It was a money cap that got right in your way very early on. It got to the point where you basically had, if you want to do several side quests, you had, oh, this fight, to go and procure, you know, the wallet upgrades. Yeah, a money cap of 99 rupees is just egregious. That would, without question, be a negative to gameplay. Possibly, too. Because in addition to all the problems that introduces, it also makes it so that you constantly will pick up rupees and then get a nope message. Which just gets very old. Especially since if you don't know what chests are rupees, you'll be picking up every chest you see and getting that message semi-frequently. Do I have? Yes, I do. Okay. What's up, Magister? Okay, so it's up to 2,000 now. Jeez. And yeah, the Colossal one, which requires the stuff I don't have. I mean, I actually do have that amiibo, I'm just not going to use it, because why would I? I'll just take the thing here. Oh, whoops. Uh-oh. Hang on, I need to do inventory management. I need this here. This here. Alright. Deutsch decided to stop watching my streams. I'm not 100% sure why. You'd have to ask her. But she's gone, and she's not coming back at this point, I'm sure. She's been gone for over a year at this point. Possibly longer. Okay. This is where I thought I was earlier. Mini-boss time. Wait a minute, there's a thing there. How strange. I'll just kill it and move on. Wait a minute. Gross. Hey, Hyperspeed. We were just discussing good game design. There's a way to really cheese this boss, but I don't remember it off the top of my head, so forgive me. Oh yeah, well there's much grosser in the... Time Temple? I forget what it's properly called. The Time Dungeon. Much later. Really? Watch the shadows. Yeah, this is the... You figured out how to do the spin dash, right? Boss. Mini-boss, I should say. By the way, gross. So, the hookshot was a really good item in Ocarina. It's actually even better in this one. For basically all the same reasons, but then later on you get an upgraded version of it. By the way, notice the chunk of the terrain actually pulled. So this is the final hint of how you're supposed to use it. There's only one way out of here, period. And that is to hookshot the things, right? The things that I've been pointing out several times now. So notice, if you look around, you're like, huh, what do I do? What do I do? And there's the chunk, the lever, which we know we've been picking up several times, and we now understand how these work. Excellent dungeon design. So now we've basically unlocked the whole dungeon. We can do all kinds of stuff now. Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, especially given the release window, that at least some of the design of Metroid Prime bled over into this game. So then they immediately give us an enemy that we can destroy now that we have the hookshot. You know, you'll notice I was just kind of avoiding these enemies before. It is actually possible to kill them without ripping off their armor. It is a pain, and they hurt. They also stun. Oh, me too, Shikor. They do a lot of that in this game. Here's your new toy, and then like the next 3 or 4 rooms in a row are just have fun with it. Here you go. Those enemies that used to be irritating you? Yeah, no, they're gone. They mean nothing to you now. They are nothing before your might. Probably my favorite example of that is the Arbiter's Ground. No, didn't think I could make it. You can make that jump. But not I. Okay, yep. Sorry. Just reminding myself where on the puzzles I am. I need to raise the water level again. That sounds horrible to quit. Can you name an example off the top of your head? Like, I feel like I've seen that too. Like, I swear I've seen that, because I remember distinctly it's like, hey, congratulations, you found something. Sucks to be you. You want to use this new toy, right? Well, you probably shouldn't or you'll die. What was that in? I know I've seen that before. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I can actually think of a strategy guide that was like, remember, even though you just got the such and such, don't use it here. Oh yeah, I never actually mentioned this. One of the things I like about this game is it doesn't really have the compass. The compass is automatic. You just have the compass by virtue of being in the dungeon. You have a compass in general is what I'm trying to say. The map also doesn't unlock the map. Instead, what the map does is show you where all the stuff is and the rooms you haven't been to. In short, they made the map more useful and baked the existing map functionality into just the base game. And same with the compass. The compass was just removed and baked into the base game. There we go. I'm curious which it is, Hyperspeed. Apparently there is a compass in this game. Where the heck do you get a compass in this game? Maybe I'm just misremembering. Ignore me, I know nothing. Grab this while we're here. Ah, yes, that is a very good scene. Whee! Excuse me. Yeah, if we ever did a Lorewalker theater of this, I would want to voice Zant. I don't know if I would get to or not. That would just be my goal, is to voice Zant. Oh yeah, pretty much. Oh god, that's horrible, Dakota. Like, that is just mean. As you so adequately already said. No. Left. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. You asked that earlier. Honestly, this is my favorite hookshot, or more accurately, the upgraded version of this. It is awesome, and I love it. Hi! Yeah, the double claw shot is pretty cool, in addition to being useful. So, it kind of gets the trifecta for me. Let's see. So, I'm going to do this. This. The hookshot's always been a pretty cool item, pretty much ever since LTTP, which I'm pretty sure was the first one to do it. Which is funny, because it's also really useful in LTTP. Go figure. Yep, that's right. We can God of War it. Did I screw that up? I did screw that up. Yes, Savicom, that is correct. Although Link's Awakening has no real connection to anything. That's what I have to call an indirect sequel. Do I enjoy this game's art style? That's an interesting question. Rather than answer that question, I will instead distract you with something else entirely. Did you know that Blood Elves are awesome? Yeah, exactly, Boogity. Bloom... I forget the more technical aspect of it, hyperspeed. But bloom is when you see a lot of radiant light that makes things look more blurry and bright. It's an extremely common thing. They kind of... I hesitate to say the word invented, but it became really big in the PS3 era because it had gotten to the point where, you know, the machines of the time could actually use it. So, as with just about every single, gaming concept, especially graphics-wise, it was immediately overused to the point of ridiculousness. Now, I don't care for bloom in general, but too much bloom is awful. Whatever. This is another room. This is the west end, not the east end, Boogity. Oh yeah, this game is definitely too much bloom. At the moment, they've basically turned off the filter. Which is good, because bloom is bad. Yeah, the Twilight Realm is mega bloom. Like, to the point of ridiculousness. Over here. There we go. God, I hope so, Boogity. If I'm being completely blunt, I don't know why they haven't. I really don't. I actually can't think of any reasonable reason why they haven't, other than... Well, okay, there is actually a reason. There's a potential reason, I should clarify. The potential reason is Nintendo, like it or not, usually puts real effort into their ports. Now, the reason... You might be like, why would that ever be a bad thing, Lore? Well... It could be considered a bad thing because it means they have to put real development time into it, which takes away from development time on other games, newer games. And one of the things that's been true for a while now, actually, for several years, is that they seem more interested in making newer games rather than making ports. Now, obviously, you're like, Lore, what about this exception or that exception? There are exceptions. I'm not trying to say there aren't. But for the most part... But for the most part, they've only been porting games that are very easy to port to the Switch, like Mario Kart or Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. There's no effort that needs to be put into that. Although even in those cases, they have bothered to add new functionality, maps, etc. So make of that what you will. No, it's too slow. It's too slow. So if you're asking, like I said, I don't have a solid answer. The only speculation I have... Did he just fall to his death? The only speculation I have is what I just mentioned. that they are focusing their efforts on new content rather than redoing old content. Now, if that sounds funny, it probably should, since Nintendo is well mocked for focusing entirely on older content rather than making new content. Now, I think that mockery is unfair, personally. Is there seriously? Am I gonna have to go? Yeah, I am. Okay, whatever. But you get the overall point. That's a tough one, Hushy. Whoops. I mean, hyperspeed. I mean, it's no snow-peaked mountains, but it is a good dungeon. Akai Vrul Vailem means you should drink now. You notice I'm not, because I'm a moron. But that is what it means. You're right, I should, but I'm a little busy. I'm thinking in my head what my favorite dungeons are. And I think there's 3 really big ones. For me. The Fire Temple. I forget what its proper name is, but you know, the Fireplace, the Arbiter's Ground, and of course, Snow Peak. Snowdrift, whatever it's called. All 3 of those, in my opinion, are excellent dungeon design. You know, cool layouts, distinct visuals, fun storytelling, blah, 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 blah. Good stuff. All this just so I could get a chest. There is, Jay. There is the souls of the damned. Hey, look! Okay. So now we have both water flows going. We're actually mostly done with the dungeon at this point. So we didn't actually get all that lost. We got a little lost earlier. Only a little. Oh, God. Die. Die, foul creature. Thou belongest not within this world. Actually, I need to do this. Well, it's probably because they actually put real time and effort into designing this dungeon so that it would be better than the infamous water dungeon. Remember, the water dungeon from Ocarina is a dungeon even the creators didn't like and felt was unfair and improperly designed. There's a reason it's actually easier on the Master Quest version. Here we go. I think you mean dance water. Dance. I could see the enemy show. I could totally see that. This is a cute puzzle. The other guy's like, hey! Hey! You missed everything, Terra. Everything! What do you think? Should I kill him? He does seem to really want to die. So I shall grant him his fondest wish. No, you don't get to land. Yeah, I'll go grab that. Alright, so, now that we've grabbed that, what haven't I done? Hang on, let me check the map really quick here. That's what I haven't done. Okay. We literally have one more thing to do before we're done with the dungeon. Technically, we could go to the boss door right now. We just can't open it. That's the problem we're running into. So, let's... Whoops. No. You ever see me just randomly go up or down? It's because I'm holding left. It did that on the GameCube version, too, by the way. It's just weird. Probably because it's on an analog and not a D-pad, like it should be. Let me play with a D-pad, damn you. Just checking something. I mean, why are you here? And if he wants to die so badly, I shall grant him his wish. I am here to help people. My job, man. Alright. Hang on. No, okay. I'm lost. I don't actually know where the game wants me to go right now. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Hang on. So let's do this. What's funny is I'm even here. I just... whatever. Every time I doubt myself, you know. Every single time, I'm actually right. No. 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 There we go. Ooh, that was a little close. Don't mind the bottomless pit. I'm sure it's perfectly safe. This way. Yep, I'm right. Yay! So I was actually going the right way. I don't know, what do you think? Does that count as me going lost? Getting lost? So you can actually swing your weapon underwater in this game. You just have to be on the boots to do it. Just a little point there. Yeah, I mean, I was going the right way. I just didn't know it yet. I'm just gonna try and avoid this guy here. There we go. So on the off chance you're out of bombs at this point. Whoops. Then hit the wrong button. And you too will accidentally blow yourself up. Oh, jeez. Thanks, game. Appreciate that. Yep. Now let's see here. Is it that way? Yeah, it's that way. Electricity, which heals me. At least that's what video games have taught me. Get off me. Alright. Right. I'm gonna be swimming in rupees after a while. Oh, you think these are bad rats? Wait until you see the really horrible rats in this game. Those things are fun. I don't remember if I can hookshot the thing, so let's go try really quick. Oh no, not the ants, although those are bad too. No, I'm talking about the rats. The undead rats. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. That's basically the next dungeon, too, if memory serves. Wait, no, it's not. It's like the second to next dungeon, isn't it? Damn. So we probably won't get to that today, but we'll get to that tomorrow. So for Labor Day, ghost rats. Oh, they're wonderfully creepy. They're so creepy. They remind me of how much I'm loved in their tender embrace. You're right. For some reason, I always mistake when we go for the Master Sword and when we go for the actual dungeon immediately adjacent to the Master Sword. So I don't know if I've ever told you this story, Savacom. Once upon a time, I was driving in a car with a friend of mine, and she was talking about how she didn't actually think I could do a good job of playing the Joker, specifically Heath Ledger's The Joker. Now, I'm not going to do it right now because I haven't watched that movie in forever, but I did a take. Whoops, gosh dang it. I did a take on the Joker right there on the spot. She just gave me the biggest-eyed look, like, oh my god! And I'm like, what? You know, immediately back to my normal tone. What? What's wrong? That was horrifying! Yeah, for some reason it's really easy for me to play Kefka-like characters. I don't know why. I swear it's not indicative of my personality. Okay, anyways. What's actually even more amusing is several of my real-life friends tell me that whenever I'm trying to be sinister or villainous or whatever, I fail. It's when I am just genuinely amused by something. That's when I sound terrifying. Like, my normal, actual laugh is apparently, like, the most maniacal thing. For an example of this, some of you actually saw this episode. We were playing board game night one time. And we were playing, oh god, what's the name of that stupid thing? It's like Ghost on the Hill Shell with the haunted something. I'm getting turned around. Hang on, let me focus for a second on what I'm doing. Because I am getting turned around here. There it is! I was gonna say, it's right here. Okay, now that I've focused for 5 seconds on what I'm doing. Yeah, House on the Haunted Hill or whatever. I can't think of the name of it. But anyways, it's a fun game. It's actually among my favorite co-op board games. But there's a catch to the board game. See, what happens is, after a certain point in time, a haunt happens. And the haunt determines which particular obstacle you're trying to overcome for that dungeon, okay? Now, most of those, there's like a traitor. And the traitor is the person who... basically, a player becomes the enemy. Now, that's not always true. Now, that's important for this story, because sometimes the traitor will be revealed, but they're not a traitor. No one else knows that. So, I was playing a game, and by complete coincidence, I wasn't actually the traitor. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, oh my god, really? You really? And I just start laughing maniacally. Because I thought it was so funny. So, at this one point, we reconvene after we've figured out each other's rules and whatnot. And it's like, okay. And so they're like, alright, Lore. And I look at them, and I'm just, yeah, this was the chainsaw one. That's the one. And I'm like, guys... And it was so funny, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, guys, I'm not actually the traitor. And none of them believed me. None of them believed me. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. And it was so, it just kept getting me. Because the fact that they wouldn't believe me just made it funnier for some reason. I don't know, I have a weird sense of humor. So anyways, as a fun thing, in that particular adventure, if they kill me, the not traitor, they lose because they've killed an innocent life, and it activates the curse. So they come after me full tilt, and I'm like, no, guys, what? And they're like, you have a chainsaw? I'm like, of course I have a chainsaw. It's a great weapon. What do you want from me? We want you to not kill us all. I'm not trying to kill you all. Oh... Anyways, I'm not evil is the thing to take away from all this. That's the important part. Trust in Lord. I'm not going to sing the whole song, but trust in Lord. Whee. Whee. But yeah, it's a fun board game. I highly recommend it. I keep trying to get a hold of the Legacy version, but I have yet to see it available anywhere, so that is yet to be a thing that's happened. Oh, shoot. I missed my chance. I'm just gonna dangle here for a minute. How's your days going? Going good? Going good? Wait a minute. Yeah, I noticed that he doesn't actually go into maniacal. He has a little hoo-hoo-hoo, you know, the hooting laugh, but that's it. Yes, I have played Dead of Winter. That's another fun one. We actually made our own version, basically our own legacy version of that, which was just kind of thrown together on the fly. But still, it was kind of neat. I think I'll do that. We're teaching you the value of patience. Patience. One of my players was the final boss of a campaign I did. 6-year-long campaign. His death heralded in an unprecedented era of peace and prosperity. I'm not making this up. You can ask Braig when she's seen the whole thing. Hey, Marley. Hang on. What do you got for me, Vigilant? Okay, I recognize me. Who is that? Vigilant. Oh my god, it's Braegwyn. I knew it. It would make a lot of sense, Vigilant. I agree. That would be a very logical outcome for the old dead me. To be lost forever in Braegwyn's clutches. That's awesome. Vigilant. Anybody else wants to see that, you should totally click that. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Vigilant does some good artwork. I didn't mean to do that. So what's my longest campaign? Actually, the campaign I just referenced is my longest campaign. It really was a very long one. I don't even remember exactly how long. Like, years and years and years. Oh. What's that? Ah, that's that. Hang on. There we go. Yes, that's what Braegwyn looks like, guys. So, what do you guys think of the boss I'm about to fight? Let's get back on topic here for a second. Yes, they should make it in Witcher 3, and that's what they should do, Boogity. By the way, doing this boss without this armor? Oh, you asked what version I was playing. So I actually have my own rule set. And that's what I did it in. This boss is a good example of spectacle without substance. This is actually one of the largest bosses in the entire franchise. No joke. Notice how, again, there's a multiple phased thing going on here. Not that thing. Well, we're dead. Now, it's probably hard to really gauge how large this boss is, given how absolutely vast so the camera's actually zoomed out more than it normally would be. Just kind of, you know, not helping. This is proving a little more irritating than I remember it being. Give me a second. No. I don't think I have literally ever taken this long on Phase 1. Literally ever. No. Ooh, okay. Didn't mean to do that glitch, but sure, I'll take it. It takes so long to do anything underwater that I'm like, hang on, let me slowly pull out my sword. I'm gonna die. Holy God. I have never died on this boss. Cardassian. Go for the challenge. There we go. Literally never died on this boss before. So anyways, that's not the actual boss. If that's not obvious. That is. No, too slow, too slow. He moves extremely fast. It's deceptive because of how large he is, but he is moving something like 5 times your speed. Almost. Almost. I do. I bothered to get it before the boss, just in case. Which is funny, because I remember mentally thinking, I won't need it. It's an easy boss, but, you know, just in case. Yeah, you'll notice his phase 2 basically doesn't attack you. Which I always find hysterical to think about. Oh god, yeah, imagine you're just out swimming one day and then you just see this in the distance. This thing's like a 1/4 mile long. Or like half a click. So his patterns in moving are extremely random. Another speedrunner problem with this guy. And we're done. Oh yeah, yeah, there's a random boss. So this always bothered me. Where does the water go? Remember, we are quite a bit underwater. We are like, so you have the lake, and then you have the bottom of the lake, which is where the entrance of the temple is. Then you have to go down from there 3 levels to get to the entrance to this room, and then you go down this frickin' thing, and then he knocks out a hole which drains this area into something. Where's the water going? That has always bothered me. Notice that this creature doesn't exist, by the way. Similar to the first boss. It is simply the fused shadow, given a different form. No, I've got it. Underneath there is the Subnautica area. I'll just take that, thanks. Now, don't resent me for all I've put you through. I need this thing. Besides, we have to do something about Zant, the one who thinks he's the King of Shadows. His power is a false one. I'll prove it using these. So, I've done everything I need to. I'm sorry for dragging you all over the place with me. So, shall we go? This is probably my second favorite scene in the game, the one we're about to see, by the way. Make of that what you will. Third favorite. I thought of another one. So there's Zant. Remember, Zant has a tremendous amount of raw strength. Just raw strength. No finesse, no skill. Zant. Did you honestly mean to take an ancient and withered power like these and turn it against me? You are a foolish traitor, Midna. Why do you defy your king? My king? You who do nothing but abuse the magic of your tribe? You must be joking. How dare you? Are you implying that my power is our old magic? Now that is a joke. This power is granted to me by my god. It is the magic of the King of Twilight, and you will respect it. Notice the physical curse he just was about to fling at Midna, which literally embeds itself in our forehead. Remember that for later. My Midna, did you forget? That beast is one of the light dwellers who oppressed our people. No matter how much you may desire otherwise, you will never be more than a shadow in their world. You cannot consort with their kind. But if we can make their world ours, Midna, light and darkness will meet at last. Our tribe will take back their realm, and sweet darkness will blot out this harsh light. And that, Midna, is why I need you. Not just for me, but for all our people. Lend me your power. So be it. I will return you to the light world you covet. So then, he decides to poison her with an overdose of light. This is actually one of the only clever things he ever does, right here. Basically, in case you didn't catch that, he subdued the light spirit, and then when he unsubdued the light spirit, he put her right in its way. So the first thing it would attack in its rage is her. We'll find out, Baron. Oh, I agree, hyperspeed. This is probably the smartest thing he ever does. I feel like I just said that. So she is literally poisoned with light. He was turning to kill Link. The light spirit teleported us out. However, because of the curse, we are back to being a wolf, and she is on the verge of death. Go to the princess locked away in the castle. That princess holds the key to unlock you from your shadow form. Notice the light spirit only cares about us. Keep that in mind. Alright, I'm going to deliberately get in combat as soon as I can, just to test it. there's some. Come on. Nope. They still haven't fixed it. Jesus Christ, Nintendo. This is not that hard. That's a negative to story right there. That is such an interference in what is otherwise an excellent scene. There are speedrunners who hate that. Speedrunners who, I remind you, generally don't give a crap about story in general, who still hate that. I will now be trying to avoid combat and failing. I don't even see what I'm aggro to. This is exactly the scene I referenced in Rumination. Now, I've been pointing out bit by bit how they've been taking effort to humanize Midna as her mask bit by bit slips away from her, as she gets more and more accustomed to and familiar with Link. This is the moment, up until this point, hey, it's a cat. I just hate the rain. I can't get comfortable whether I sit or stand. Oh yeah, by the way, people freak out if they see you as the wolf, because again, beast, I referenced that earlier. So up until now, she's been slowly revealing more and more how she's not actually a horrible person, but rather someone who is a good person, who has just been injured and betrayed and hurt. By the way, you can talk to all the animals in town here. And pretty much the moment at which we've finished that arc, when we've gotten to the point where she is someone we can acknowledge that we care about, is when she is injured to the point of being on the verge of death. We try to go in here and... Remember the cat? I pointed her out twice earlier. This cat is basically the animal in charge of the town, in charge of the animal side of the town, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I thought so. I could just tell, you know. She actually took notice of us earlier. I'm Luis. Do you remember meeting in this shop? Though I don't think we were properly introduced. In any case, I must tell you, I'm a bit puzzled why you look like that. Really, dear, you can't blame the humans for tossing you out with the way you look. Oh, another patient? You certainly are a curious sort. Jeez. This way. Also, a very minor point here. Here in through the window is the attic connected to the castle's waterway. It's an old waterway, though, so it'll be a rough trip. I suppose all that's left to do is make sure the humans don't notice you. Very minor point. The cat is willing to brave the rain just to try and help us out. And you might be thinking, what's the point of that? It just shows why she's Telma's cat. Because that is basically Telma in cat format. You know, equal personalities for equal pets. That kind of a thing, right? Alright, Steak. This is a sneaking mission. Oh yeah, if you talk to her, that's what she says. Now, this is a brilliant part of storytelling. By the way, this whole section is getting at least a plus, so screw you. Of course, I had to say that. I had to say that, didn't I? Yeah, this is very dense and very efficient characterization. This whole sequence is designed around one idea. They are playing on the idea that the player has become familiar with and accustomed to Midna to the point where the player cares about Midna. It is also framing this scene as if Midna is desperately begging for help. So you have someone who you've grown to care about over quite a bit of playtime. Remember, even though we're only 3 dungeons in, this is like 12 hours in. And we're desperately trying to get her to medical aid. The elder told me to escort Telma, but this city does not suit my skin. Yeah, well, screw you too. How's it come to this, huh? Monsters walking in the streets of town. The world of soldiers of Hyrule doing. The Gorons are so much more reliable than they are. It's not even funny. This is also one of the earlier examples of a really smooth character arc I remember in gaming. I heard an acquaintance of Telma's defeated the beast that had been attacking tourists on the bridge. His name was Link. Sounds like he brought Telma and her young ward to Kakariko. And here I was thinking Hyrule was empty, men of valor. Oh, I don't believe he's from Hyrule proper at all. No, my understanding he's from the small neighboring province of Ordona. This may sound horribly elitist, but people who do not know the city simply do not know fear. Remember those three. They'll be coming up later. Actually, yes. Although, before we go any further, this is a really weird inclusion, but this is basically the introduction of the Poe minigame. This is the first time it really comes up. Whoops. We will not be doing this, to be clear. Oh, thanks for beating the coast. Can I call you Doggy? Look, notice the cat on his head. I'm Giovanni. I became consumed by greed long ago and sold my soul to a dark creature that did this to me. Yeah, this is basically this Gold Skull Tula, although slightly less rewarding. This is a collectathon thing. I can't move, can't go see my girlfriend. My pet cat Gengal is frozen on my head. I don't think I could be more miserable. I have to ask you a favor, Doggy. Can you defeat the 20 ghosts? There's only 20 of them, but they are all over the place. And they only show up at night. And the end, I suppose. Get it? Suppose. See, I was going to get into stand-up comedy, but then I have to sit down all the time. I'm sorry, that's a terrible joke. Moving on, moving on. So, didn't I already answer you, Hyperspeed? I swear I did. Maybe I got interrupted. Yes. I mean, it would probably be more accurate to say that the old waterway was originally for water, you know, and then they found a new water path, so they don't need it anymore. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a very subtle but interesting point. So we obviously don't have her, right? We don't have her, which means we can't do the charge attack, we can't do lock-on, there's a bunch of stuff. Okay, we can't do lock-on, never mind. What can't we do? We can't do the charge attack, we can't teleport, we can't talk to her. Oh yeah, we're also slower. Like, even when you charge, you're actually noticeably slower. Anyways, the reason I bring this up is despite being more limited right now than we normally are, here's where the slowness really happens. Oh yeah, we can't super jump either. Despite being more limited, the game deliberately puts us into a challenge area, a dungeon, manually crafted to be acceptable, for lack of a better way to put it, for someone who doesn't have those abilities. In short, even though we are more limited than we were a bit ago, we are not completely limited, if that makes any kind of sense. The relative difficulty of this dungeon is designed well enough that we don't actually feel hampered, even though we are. There we go. That's how I want to say that. Because Legend of Zelda and game design. Whoops. Yeah, as I say, once I pointed out, you probably noticed it immediately, Pogody. Whoop, dip, dip, whoop, whoop. Notice how this is also in part the same dungeon we started out at, which is a nice bookend in its own way. No, actually, Jay, when I was reading the encyclopedia in my off hour, which I tend to do to brush up on lore, I found out that one of the narrative points of this game, no joke, is that almost all of the rich people are the ones in Hyrule City. Like the wealthy elite, so to speak. That's actually going to make a side quest later on make even more sense than it already did. Google the sewers. Do I have to? Now, if you're thinking to yourself for a moment, hang on a second, Laura. Last time you came... Okay, hang on. Let me murder this guy. There we go. The last time that I came through here, I had her ability to super jump. So what the hell am I going to do now? Because there's actually a part of this dungeon, this puzzle, that I'm supposed to be able to solve with that. Well, they did actually consider that in their equation, because good game design. As for why there's so many moblins here, I don't know. There we go. That is slightly trickier than it looks. Only slightly. I'm actually astonished I didn't fall. Yeah, that is a strong freaking wind. I have no idea, Baron. I haven't even thought about that. So here's the second best cutscene of the game. Also, 2 of Zelda's 3 cutscenes in the entire game. So, all this work and effort, desperately trying to save her, and she's desperately pleading for us to get to Zelda, and she gets here, and as she's dying, she asks Zelda to help us. Because that is Midna in a nutshell. She is a kind-hearted, good, loving, caring person. Just because she has to wear the mask doesn't mean what's underneath isn't there. And now that she's on the verge of death, this is the first time she truly lets the mask completely go. And doesn't even try. This is the one. You need him to save your world. That's why, Princess, please, you must help Link. What binds him is a different magic than what transformed him when he first passed the curtain of Twilight. It is an evil power. The power of Ganondorf, not the power of Shadow, to be completely distinct there. Our world is one of balance. Just as there is light to drive away darkness, so too is there benevolence to banish evil. Head for the sacred grove that lies deep within the lands guarded by the spirit of Pharaon. There you will find the blade of evil's blade that was crafted by the wisdom of the ancient sages, the Master Sword. Which actually wasn't made by the sages at all, but whatever. We'll go meet Fee. The Master Sword is a sacred blade that evil can never touch. Evil cloaks you like a dark veil, and that blade is the only thing that can cleave it. Link, the hero sent by the goddesses. Like you, I have been granted special powers by the goddesses. Fine, Link, you can get to the woods on your own, right? Princess, I have one last request. Can you tell him where to find the Mirror of Twilight? Midna. I believe I understand now just who and what you are. Despite your mortal injuries, you act in our stead. These dark times are the result of our deeds. Yet it is you who have reaped the penalty. She knew she was a Twilight. She didn't know she was the Twilight Princess. There is a distinction. And then Zelda gives Midna the Triforce of Wisdom. I can't understate how huge this is. This is a big freaking deal. Zelda vanishes almost immediately because the second her power is no longer protecting her, she's grabbed. The second. I've taken all you had to give, though I did not want it. I've always assumed grabbed by Ganondorf, since he is the one who is actively seeking her. But I'm not sure, is the truth of it. It could be either. Fun little lore tidbit. We actually do teleport to an actual teleport spot here. Remember, she's still limited. She can only go to the anchors. Notice also that with her taken, and the Triforce of Wisdom gone, that happens. We pretty much literally got out just in time. Wonderful characterization there without a single line of dialogue, by the way. Anger, rage, looks at her hand, excuse me, it's actually her right hand, remembers what she was given, determination, resolution, moving forward. That is an awesome sequence of events. IMO. And deserves 15 negatives. Toxic lore. Wait. What happened to the cat? It's super dead. It's not in the castle, actually. It's just outside the castle. We can still access Castle Town. Okay, so I'm joking, obviously, but there is a difference between dead and super dead. If you ever hear me say that, literally what I mean is dead, and there's plenty of ways to bypass that, depending on the work of fiction. Super dead is gone, not coming back. Yeah, dead is more like downed. Exactly. I don't know Hyperspeed, mostly because in many ways this is the story of... as weird as this may sound, the story of the Triforce, the story of Ganondorf, and the story of Zelda's mistake. As I've said many times, both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are literally the world fixing itself after Zelda's mistake at the end of Ocarina. And I feel the removal of Ganondorf would have hurt the overall narrative, my opinion. This would get another plus, if not for the music problem. we go. Now, while we're here, I think we'll go and do this, and do this. I should mute myself. Okay, so most of this is codifying stuff that I already had down, but we're going to go from 4 pluses to 10. Everyone cool with that? Cool. Let's move on. No, I like to talk these out every time I do these, so let's make this clear. So, story positives. We have Midna. Midna's an awesome character. There's a reason she's one of the most beloved characters in the entire franchise. There's a reason people have constantly clamored for her to come back. There's a reason she was the first character assigned to be a secondary story character in Hyrule Warriors. To this day, I am actually surprised they have not tried to touch on Midna again. So, Midna. Zant. I think I've already talked this one through. Zant is a surprisingly interesting and well-written character, despite how pathetic he is. He only really does one competent thing in the entire game, and we just saw it. He is also, well, I'll talk more about his character arc later, but he does have a full character arc. Or, to be slightly more accurate, he has... It's more like we know, we reveal more about what he really is throughout the course of the game. Every time we see him, a little bit more of his mask is pulled off. And we've already started to see that, since we've seen him 3 times now. The sequence with Midna and Zant and the Fused Shadow, awesome scene. The scene with that we just saw, which is, in my opinion, one of the best scenes in the whole game, and one of the most moving by far, with Zelda effectively sacrificing herself for Midna, Midna showing her true colors and completely losing any fragments of her own mask. I just mentioned the little characterization bit. You know, just great stuff across the board. And that's all the story pauses. Yet Zant's mask literally comes off throughout the course of the game. It's hysterical. As for on the gameplay side, one of these is for boss design. I think I can pretty safely say the boss design is good. In fairness, boss design is probably going to get another positive by the end of the game. We'll see, but it definitely gets at least one now. Another plus is for Link's kit. This is kind of a normal Zelda positive, but the fact is, Link has quite a few things he can do with the various items he gets, and that's fun. Moving on. The map and the related interface are quite good, and there's a lot of fun little details and inferences that has, and it's a good interface design basically. Dungeon design is good, not just good though. What they do is something that honestly I think most of the other Zelda games don't nail in quite the same way, and I put it in my notes there. Most dungeons lean on 3 axes: combat, keys, items. Stuff you have to fight to progress, keys you need to open doors, and the items you need to progress through the dungeon. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, but this is the normal Zelda design. However, if you're paying attention, every single dungeon in Twilight Princess so far has had a 4th thing. Now, what that 4th thing is varies. In the first dungeon, it was monkeys. In the second dungeon, it's the magnetics. And in the third dungeon, it's the one we just did, it's the flow of water. And that's going to be a continuing trend throughout the course of the dungeons of this game. I can just tell you that right now. So I like the fact that they basically add a dynamic layer that is specific to each individual dungeon on top of the usual Zelda triad. I'm going to go ahead and spoil the fact that dungeon design is probably going to get at least one more positive later. Combat. I've said this many times. I love fighting in this game. It's easily the funnest game for me to just do straight combat in. In addition to that, the way they expand on the complexity of combat by literally giving you new ways to use your sword and shield is, in my opinion, a great move and really helps with the combat. And I think that's everything? Yeah, I think that's all of the pluses we just codified. Most of those were pluses that were penciled in. I just hadn't actually codified them yet. I'm also adding to the gameplay negative. Oh, the crew? Well, we haven't met all of them yet in Arlex. Telma is one of them. We actually just saw 3 more of them. There's the dude, there's the woman, and there's the professor guy. You know. Basically, there's a crew of NPCs who help you out throughout the course of the game, bit by bit. And then when you get to the end, they all help you together. They're penciled in. We'll see. Alright. So we can warp around again. Hey! I want to go... Where do I want to go? I want to go here, don't I? Don't I? Yes, 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 yes. Well, there's dude, woman, professor guy, Russell, you know, the guy who was our surrogate father, Telma. I think I'm actually missing a couple there. Yeah, we'll talk about this part when we go through here. Because now we have to deal with those things. Note their faces. Yes, it's a deliberate reference. Remember, this is the same timeline as Majora's Mask. So Majora's Mask did happen in this timeline. That's going to be relevant in a minute. Did you save me? Thank you. Listen, since you're so nice, let me tell you something. There's a really pretty wooded area on the other side of the cliff. Sorry, you asked that twice, Baron, and I still don't understand the question. You're going to have to help me, because I literally don't understand it. And I also have something on my glasses, which drives me batty. Give me a second. I mean, I'm kind of with you on that, Takoida. Just in general. I wish they'd just make it more overt. At least in this case, most of this has since been confirmed by interviews and outside sources, but at the time, we weren't sure. When Twilight Princess came out, there were quite a bit of pieces of this, so we weren't sure, are these deliberate connections to Ocarina and Majora's? Because there's actually quite a few. I've been pointing them out as we go. Or are these just references? Like in a Final Fantasy series, you know, they mostly lean on references rather than actual continuity. Tasty geese. Delicious keys. Come on. So, depth perception. I'm probably going to fall here. I'm just going to let you know in advance. A little too slow there. I've heard some people argue that Minda could have been a much worse person if things kept going bad for her. I'm not sure. I don't think so, though. Extremely obvious symbolism on the moon. As I've often said, just because you go through hell doesn't mean you come out a worse person. Some people go out and come out with the worst of themselves. Some people go out and come through with the best of themselves. Minda strikes me as someone who would come out with the best of herself. That's just my opinion, though, and I don't know. Excellent. Are those the Poes? You see that, guys? Hang on, I'm going to go to full screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Do you see that? Like, right on the thing? There's another one over here. And another one up here. What are these? I don't recognize those icons. But this is like where a Poe is. I recognize that spot. And you notice there's 4 here. No, that was absolutely not in the original. You'll notice I even have the Poe indicator on the upper right here. Huh. That's actually a good change. So for those of you not aware, in the original version, yeah, the forest doesn't have anything, which is weird. Like, look, there's nothing here. I don't know what to make of that. That is so strange. Maybe you're supposed to get them in a bundle? Because I notice all of the ones that are on the map are in this province. The main Hyrule province. Weird. Anyways, sorry, moving on. Eagle flower. Anyways, quick explanation for what Midna is. She is the incumbent ruler of the Twilight people, who are extremely magically powerful people who were sealed away in an alternate dimension where they had to magically transform themselves in order to even be able to survive. She, as a consequence of that transformation, along with other Twilight, cannot normally exist outside the Twilight realm. Recognize the song? You will in a second. Of course, we encounter this song here. Now, that may not make sense. You're thinking, why would Zelda's song be here in the forest? This is where Castletown used to be. And yes, that is Skull Kid. Yes, that's Skull Kid. One of the only bits of lore that's really, really, really unexplained is why Castletown turned into this. Yeah, he's still kind of a dick. He's still playing around and having fun with it. Notice there's no mini-map for this section. And once again, you have to use the audio cues to find him. He's just hanging out, having fun, like you do. It would be more accurate to say the Lost Woods expanded to include... God dang it. The Castletown. Would be a more accurate way to phrase that. It would also help to explain why Castletown had to move. However, this is probably a good thing to mention. If you... So I talked about the map a few times. If you line up the map of Ocarina with the map of Skyward, with the map of Twilight, with the map of Wind Waker, amongst all of that, the only thing that doesn't make sense, the only thing that doesn't neatly fit with the rest of it, is the position of Castletown. Do you mind? Oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. Now I know what you're thinking. What happened? We don't know. Yes, I know. I don't remember how to get up there. Do I have any theories? Oh, I got tons. I'm pretty sure I listed one of them in my rumination. I don't even remember which theory I gave in the rumination. No, no, no. There we go. However, I was reading through the encyclopedia to see if it actually has an explanation, and funnily enough, it does. Although it's not a particularly satisfactory explanation, it is at least an explanation. No. You may or may not remember, as we've been going through the game, there's these very large chasms here and there, right? Large cliffs and just cracks in the earth. According to the encyclopedia, there have been several significant geological shifts in the world since the time of Ocarina. Doesn't say why. But that's what specifically moved certain chunks of the earth and stretched them out in a different direction. And as a direct consequence to that, they bailed on Castletown. So, they left and formed a new Castletown elsewhere, which, it doesn't make as much sense as it could, but I mean, it makes some sense, I suppose. It's just, think about what it takes to build a whole new castle. Like, building a castle is not a quick and easy thing, you know? But yeah, basically, Jay. By the way, yes, deliberate Majora's Mask reference with his face. Don't worry, he doesn't have Majora's Mask or its influence anymore. Whoops, I forgot about that little step. Come on. Probably Geludo. The mere fact that they included geological cataclysms shifts this further away from Ocarina in the timeline. Which, okay, sure, whatever. You should take a drink now, Gnarlix, is what it's saying. Oh, I've heard Dream Whisperer. I also don't believe it. In fact, I know many historians who do not believe that. Now, it was probably built quickly, but that single night, no. Actually, if you sit and look at the overall geography, it doesn't conflict as much as you might think. I wish I could show you this. Hang on, can I just pull up... Okay, hang on. You see the cursor? You do see the cursor. So here's the desert, right? And then immediately adjacent to the desert is the lake. And then if you look down, you see the expanded woods into what used to be the castle town, which is right about here. And if you keep going, you get to the actual Faron Lost Woods, which is down here. And in fact, if you're paying attention, the Deku Tree would have been right about there. Now, that's not perfect, but it's not actually all that far off. The one thing that's a little bit far off is Death Mountain, which is way the hell over here. It's worth noting, however, that there are 3 rifts. In fact, you can see one right here in between that, which kind of would help to push it further away. Now, the interesting thing is, if you line the maps up alongside each other, Skyward Sword covers basically this territory, and so does Ocarina, and so does Twilight. Thus, this stuff up here is actually the new territory. And, to keep going with this, if you pay attention, you notice these mountains that are surrounding everything? This is actually a direct reference to Wind Waker. Now, this is bullcrap, but the idea here is that all of Hyrule is basically in an extended valley area. And thus, the rest of the terrain on the outside is further up. So when this gets flooded in the Wind Waker timeline, all of this is the Great Ocean. And of course, after the events of Wind Waker, Tetra and her crew end up traveling out and find, I don't know where it is, actually, geologically speaking, but they find New Hyrule, which is some of the land that wasn't flooded. And then they found New Hyrule. So, like I said, with the exception of Castletown, it actually all lines up pretty well. Yeah, Hyrule is also in kind of a basin in Breath of the Wild. That is true. And it's probably on purpose. Yeah, they made trains. Actually, I like Spirit Tracks, but I wonder if I can literally show you this. I probably can't. Give me a second. I can find the maps. There's actually a whole... Is this it? There's literally an entire section on geography. Here it is. Perfect. So this, I know you're not going to be able to see this entirely. But this actually shows... Oh, I can't see the screen, so I can't see what you can say. So up here is Skyward. The middle one is Ocarina. And the bottom one down there is Twilight. So you can see Skyward to Ocarina to Twilight. And like I said, when you line them up next to each other, it actually fits better than it should, with the sole exception of that. Also, on the other side, it shows Ocarina to Wind Waker, and how that lines up, too. That's a funny one, actually. Because Castletown and Kakariko become Windfall. Death Mountain becomes Dragon Roost Island. The forest becomes the Forest Haven. Outset Island actually doesn't really connect with anything, although Outset Island is pretty much exactly where Ordon Village is. And Lake Hylia is where Great Fish Isle is. And of course the Forsaken Fortress is over by where the Spirit Temple was in Ocarina. So, for all that I complained, they did make at least a little effort to make all this line up. Whatever credit was due. So, Temple of Time. To be clear, no, really, this is the Temple of Time. In addition to the fact that they made a very deliberate reference here to this being the Temple of Time. In addition to the fact that, the interviews since then have said that this is supposed to be the Temple of Time from Ocarina. I can't get it right now. There's also, in the book I was just pointing out, it actually shows how the geography matches almost one-to-one between the Temple of Time and the Temple of Time in Ocarina. So this is where, basically, we effectively just went through where Castletown used to be. Maybe Dragon Roost was Zora's domain. I might have looked at that wrong. I'll have to check it again in a second. I'm not picking up that thing again. It's not worth it. You know what? I'm going to look up this puzzle, because I never remember how to do this. But before I do, how many of you like this puzzle? How many of you hate this puzzle? Okay, where is it? You're right. I'm sorry. It's actually Zora's Domain to Dragon Roost. It says it right there. Death Mountain is... I don't know what that island is. Death Mountain is an island, but it's not labeled on this map. It's the one just north of Windfall Island, whatever that is. This is funny, by the way. The map of Hyrule from Ocarina is somewhat offset when compared to Link to the Past. Tilting it makes it slightly easier to line up parallel points on the map, but even then, the locations have changed dramatically. Yeah, that's because they weren't intended to be connected, as I've already mentioned. Or at least they shouldn't have been connected, whatever, you know what I mean. Just... meanwhile, Link Between Worlds and Link to the Past, those line up perfectly. So, this puzzle is mandatory. The way this works is... if you get hit by something, you reset. So you and they cannot intersect. They can intersect with each other. And they cannot jump, so they will not jump into the pit if they cannot jump. However, if you try to have them jump into each other... I have no idea, Terra. This is how you reset. I think there's also a way to just quit out. Maybe? Yep, you can just reset or quit or continue right here. I'm too dumb to do this, so I'm just going to look this up real quick. There's actually multiple solutions to it, believe it or not. Yeah, you can just puzzle your way through it. Looks like I was almost correct there. I went the wrong way initially. I don't remember at this point hyperspeed. I think Sis solved this pretty quickly when she did it. Oop. Also, these have a strong similarity to the devices of the Oku, as do several things in the Temple of Time. Now, I'm pointing this out because for the longest time I theorized that the Oku were in fact what was left of the Skyloft people. According to the encyclopedia, drumroll please, the Oku actually are from Skyloft, but they are not the Skyloft people. They're just another species up there that we never encountered in Skyward Sword, because why would we have continuity? And they actually did come down, this is going to sound really strange, they came down after Ocarina of Time, and had regular contact with Hyrule of the immediate follow-up of that. And they actually helped build and maintain and basically did a lot of stuff. So the owl statues all over the place, these guys, a lot of the tech stuff we see is actually Oku tech, which they specifically shared with the Hyruleans before whatever cataclysm happened. Could be a war, could be environmental, whatever. And they pieced back out and left and went back up to the Sky City. Cannon. Hey, Fee. Oh, almost assuredly, Jaluta. The Uku were an unnecessary inclusion into the story. They should have just been the Skyloftians. It would have made a lot more sense if they did that. In fact, it would have made even more sense if they were the Picori. You know, the ancient advanced race who crafted not the Master Sword. Basically, yes, Dakota. You notice the curse is still there, it just was removed. That's important. I still like the Master Sword. It's not actually a well-designed blade. It's just pretty. It's a good ceremonial sword. And I've always been fond of a simple broadsword. This thing is the embodiment of the evil magic Zant cast on you. It's definitely different from our tribe's shadow magic. Yeah, that's because it's Ganondorf's magic. Careful. You touch it, you'll turn back into a beast. The thing is too dangerous. It's probably best if we just leave it here, huh? But on the other hand, if we kept it, you could transform into a beast anytime you want to. Since Zand was kind enough to give this to us, we should be thankful and use it all that we can. If you need it, just call me. I want to keep a low profile, so I'll hide in your shadow when you're human, but I can change you whenever. Remember, she can now manifest outside the Twilight, which she wasn't able to earlier, because Triforce of Wisdom. You can be a wolf anytime you like. But hey, listen, I got a favor to ask. Would you mind coming with me to find something called the Mirror of Twilight? Notice how this time she asks in a very polite and friendly manner, as opposed to basically forcing you to work for her under threat of blackmail. I only point that out to kind of show the contrast of how far she's changed from the beginning of the game to this point. Yes, the Mirror of Twilight. It's our last potential link to Zant. So he just nods. And she contritely vanishes. Yeah, there's no mask anymore. Midna's just Midna from now on. And she's awesome. So, this is the freedom point. We can now warp around at will. Most of the world has just been opened up to us. And we can do a whole bunch of stuff right now. Correct, Magister. Although she is, of course, a descendant of the interlopers. But yes. So, okay, I actually do want to go someplace. And that would be here. Yeah, we could work on that side quest. I think. I'm pretty sure since we're at the freedom point, we can do that now. Alright, let's switch back. Now, this doesn't get full praise, but notice transferring from one to the other is actually pretty quick. It's not quite praiseworthy, but it could be a lot slower. A lot of games have this mistake where they're like, anytime you change forms, it's this big, slow animation, you know? It's a letter from Telma! A Kyverl Vilim! Onwards to mail! So let's, It is usually because technical issues, you're absolutely right. You know, loading screens and all that. Link, there's some folks I want you to meet, so come to my bar right away. Okay. But here they bothered to make transforming pretty quick. It's about as quick as it could be, relatively speaking. I think they actually sped it up for the HD version, although I'm not sure about that. Yeah, it's just boop boop and switch. Oh yeah, speaking of which, hang on. I want to do this real quick. While we're here. Oh yeah, the pets all like us now in town. And by pets, I mean animals. You actually can't, Jay. I think. I'll try in a minute. Okay, let's not screw this up. I don't remember the route. Notice the 3 girls are watching us. Just keep that in mind. Ah! I've lost. That's a failure right there. It's like 3 seconds lost. Never mind, we made it. Almost screwed up. So notice, granted, I screwed up, but that was still difficult to do even with the hookshot. That's the point. You're not supposed to be able to do it at all. However, we had the hookshot, so we kinda cheated. What a happy day this is! The debut of a new star. Showers of applause all around. To the star I give this! Very well, the next stage will be created, one just for you, sir. And yes, he is based on Tingle, that is correct. However, he is not Tingle, to be clear. He is the closest thing we get to a Tingle in this game. So we have fangirls now. Hi, girls. So if you ever need to heal quickly... What? I mean, if you think about it, Link probably does have a lot of fangirls. Like a lot. Like a lot. Maybe too many. I want to do that side quest if I can. Well, what happens, Lord Atlantean, is when a man and a woman love each other very much, they rip out their hearts and feast on them. Oh, that's the Klingon version. Never mind. Of course, Fuzzy Duck. How do you think I got so many rupees? Oh, come on. What the hell? There we go. Didn't want to connect with that guy. Did you see that? So. I don't remember what we need to do this. That's why I'm scouting out here. Yeah, there's a lot of heart pieces in this game that are kind of rough to get. It can't possibly be as bad as Wind Waker's heart pieces. How many times do you have to smack him? 500? In a row? Actually, I don't know if it's in a row, but... God! Just... What the hell, game? Anyways. The bridge is broken, so we cannot carry spring water. I wish someone would fix the bridge. Really? Well, let's see if I can change right in front of you. Nope, can't change in front of him. You have to be just out of sight. See? And yes, so there's a button on here that allows you to just swap at will. Just plonk. Like that. Which is actually really awesome. Now we still have to do this to teleport. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. I want to go to Kakariko. He's a Goron. Why would he care, Terra? Whoop. Let's heal up real quick. There we go. Oh, right. Right. Let's fix that. There we go. Hey, guys, what's up? Everything's cool, right? Right. So I believe he'll be here now. I'm pretty sure we're at that point. Yep, there he is. I heard from a reliable source that shops in Hyrule Castletown are gouging prices, crushing folks under the thumb of commerce. Fear not, brudda, for Mallow Mart has proposed a townspeople relief plan as an answer to the lamentations of the common man. Phase 1, repair the broken bridge. Phase 2, buy the shop and sell products at reduced prices. There's a problem, however. The finances for the execution of the glorious plan are lacking. We are 1,000 rupees short of bridge repairs. Oh my god. Alright. I was trying to get the actual number. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look up a walkthrough. Or rather a map. Let's do this. I like this song, sorry. Is this a good one? No. Is this a good one? No. No, it's not actually walkthroughitis. I just want to hurry it up. I'm looking for the bugs, and I just want to be efficient about it. I know there's one there. Yeah, I know there's one there. You don't... No, this is completely optional, but I am absolutely doing this for this playthrough. There's no way I'm not showing off the Mallow Mart. My sister still knows how to do that jig to this day, and I still don't. Now, the best part is I'm looking at maps, which may be for the Wii version or the GameCube version, so I'm not sure if they're flipped or not. The good news is I only need... Searon to go. I only need several of the bugs to make this happen. I don't need all of them. I should need... 12? No. I can't math. What's 800 divided by 150? 6. So I need 12. I was right. God dang it. Yes, I need 12. Okay, so this one is... Hang on. I'm trying to figure out which... Okay, so this is flipped from the picture I'm looking at. Of course it freaking is. So let's go and do this. It's going to be like over here. In fact, I can already see it. There he is, right there. As you can see, they're not actually that hard to see, although this is irritating. I should probably just equip this. You done? We done here? I got a bug to catch. Oh, for God's sakes, die. Cease existing. Thank you. Where was I? There it is. I mean, they're pretty much incompetent, Linkinski. They actually talk about it in town. If you talk to them, they're like, what the hell? Ah, it's probably nothing. It's out here somewhere. It's actually a lot easier to hunt for bugs at night. There it is. I love that button. Next. See you around, Geludo. Get some good rest, or be destroyed. Take your pick. Ipuhu? Yeah. Actually, no. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, let me use the Sun Song real quick. I could probably summon Epona and ride her around, but honestly, it's just a lot easier and smoother to just be a wolf. And it's not that much slower. In fact, this is the second fastest method of travel in the game, behind Epona. And given the amount of time it takes to go find a thing, and summon her, and control her, and then get off her, and then get back on her. Yeah, I also admit, I also just kind of like running around as a wolf. The only downside is what I'm doing right now. Which you have to do in order to keep pace, basically. I need to do that next. Don't let me forget. We're kind of doing some side quest stuff before we really advance. Hey, Kamzus. Including what we're doing right now. But I also need to go get my second bomb bag. Actually, I should probably go ahead and do that, like, now, really. Okay, so this one, I'm looking at the wrong map. I mean, this map for this one. So this is this flipped again? Hang on, is this flipped? Oh yeah, that's flipped. So that's going to be there and there? Yeah. So there's a Poe. Not that we care about Poes. Where'd he go? I just saw him. There he is. No. I've always thought I would be a really big boa constrictor. Or a Pelascat. Or is it Pallas? I can never remember how to pronounce it. You know, a cat. I should probably get this, because I'm going to need this for that. Well, yeah, we'll do that. Actually, you know what I could do is I could put these here. And then put this here, and then put this here. Let's do that. Aw, see you around, Savicom. I hope you've enjoyed this brief look at the best Zelda game ever made. Shut up, Stomach. Nobody likes you. Okay. So that's 4. Let's see. See you around, Hyperspeed Folklore. Probably a house cat, honestly. Did I already get that one? I don't think I did. Hang on, let's just pull up the IGN guide. It'll show me all this stuff. In the wrong order, but it'll show me it. So that's something. Aha! I was right! Oh, whatever. I'll come back there. I got those 2? No, I didn't get those 2. I admit a bird form would be pretty tempting in general. Probably a falcon. Maybe an albatross. So you remember that one I was trying... I don't know if Dream Whisper's here, but there was one I was trying to get down here. It's right there. I can see it now. I'm guessing it just wasn't there yet. That has to be the answer, because there's no way I missed that like 3 times as I kept going through here. You see it? It's really obvious the closer we get. That's not it. That's a Hearthstone. Or a heart thing. I mean, I'll take it. Where the hell? So apparently I was missing it. Hang on. Where are you? Hang on. Let's pull up the map. Oh, it's actually over there. Should hear it in a second. No? It's on the right side of it, so it's on the other side. I'm on the wrong side. Ugh, inverted maps are the worst. There it is. Die. That's the wrong button. Nope, nope, other side. Yep, there. I can see that one from here. Do you see that one? It's right there. I'm like staring right at it. As I said, you can see these things from a ways away. I don't remember how to get that chest. Did I remember how to get that one? Because I don't remember how to get that one. I don't even recognize that chest off the top of my head. Anyway, let me do this again. Hi! And goodbye. Stupid birds. It's the Cliff Racers problem all over again. It really is. Okay, we got those two. Did we get those two? Right, that's the west end, not the east end. Jesus, freaking stupid. Flipped god dang maps. Here. I'm staring at like, I don't even know where that is. I should double check something really quick. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we do not have the butterfly. Good, good, good. So it should be... There it is. I see it. He deserves his sainthood, that's all I'm saying. It's a pretty good game, Myron. So, apparently you haven't heard me explain that yet. What happened is, so Link is left-handed. See? Sword, left hand. However, when they were coming out with the game on the Wii, they realized the majority of people are actually right-handed. So they decided the most logical thing to do would be to flip the entire game. Which they only did for the Wii version. But the Wii version and the GameCube version basically came out at the same time. Which has led to confusion literally to this very day, as I'm staring at an inverted map, trying to figure out where I'm going. Where's that one? Oh, I can't go there yet. Did I get... I didn't get that one. Did I? Did I get those two? The Hawkeye? The Hawkeye! Hang on. Let's try that again. One moment. Let me murder someone really quicker. Okay, so, as I was saying... Why isn't it letting me do it? There. I will never get the Hawkeye. Never. I also will never use it again. So let's undo that. Stop. There we go. Ugh, okay, you know what? Hey, Lazarus. What's going on? I should try something, actually. That's what I thought. Pity. Actually, should have done this when I was in Kakariko, but I completely forgot because I'm a moron. Really, Bragwin? Jesus. Alright, I've got a plan. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get a shovel. Oh yeah. Does he sell anything? No, I didn't think so. Ants, which suck. Death to all ants. All in favor? Alright, guys, we're gonna have to kill Jay, too. All defenders of ants must die, I'm afraid. Nope, don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Oh, let me do that. Oh god, there's birds everywhere, and I can't seem to untarget them. There we go, okay. Yeah, let's do that one now. See, Terra understands. We just need to get rid of all ant lovers and all ants. And everyone who disagrees with us must die. I can't even say that with a straight face. So where am I going? Ah, okay. The Ant Agonizer is great. Oh yeah, by the way, quick note. You can see the new pyramided Hyrule from almost every zone now. It's a nice little touch. It's kind of like how Death Mountain used to be back in Ocarina. Just a cool little thing. I was reminded of it because that's probably the most obvious look of it right there. And yeah, Hyrule, that's true, and Breath of the Wild, they pretty much do the exact same thing with Hyrule Castle. Come back here, Dragonfly. You know you wish to be possessed by me, and then given to a creepy girl. I hear she has lots of money. Look, don't think about it too much. Then they're who, Magister? They're not ants, they're people. There's a big difference there. Yeah, hornets can go to hell. Hornets and wasps are just wrong, horrible death dooms. By the way, secretly, it's me, Brigwin! Mwahaha. You'll have to listen to my voice all the time. The truest form of hell. Pressed the wrong button. My poor little niece has already had the experience of being bitten by a wasp. No one was particularly happy about that incident. Okay, we're good. Hopefully. So, let's get a quick save in. Yeah, I look at and read all my comments, yeah. I don't respond to the overwhelming majority of them, but I do see all of them. Bitten, specifically. Sorry, we're temporarily closed. What? I can't... Why? I need the thing to do the stuff. Those don't exist, Baron. No, they don't exist. You're wrong. I know you think they exist, but you're wrong. It hurts, Magister. It's a good way of finding out if you're actually allergic. By the way, Casual asks, what about bees? That's my thoughts about bees. Any questions? Let's go with Australia, Jay. Oh, that scared me. Who are you? How can you keep your cool fighting monsters like that? You, wow, what a champ you are. What are you doing standing around, John around for? Come on inside. Golly, what is she wearing? Talk about scary. I thought I was done for. Things have been getting pretty crazy around here, let me tell you. So thanks for earlier. My name's Isa. I rent boats. I used to rent boats, but then I had a rock fall and dammed the river up. A handy guy sure would be a big help around here. Wink, wink, flirt, flirt. Yeah, I know how to do this, thank you. What the... Huh? Well, apparently I don't. This is really weird. I've been having this problem this whole time, actually. There we go. Yay! Well, my gal tells me there's still some rocks falling in the river, so you take care of those two. Here's the boat. Hop in. Okay. Peace. I wanted to do this anyways because I really want this bomb bag. Getting a second bomb bag is, yeah, pretty useful. I love the music for this. So what kind of burger did you get? This is much harder to steer than it looks, by the way. It really is kind of paddling, in the traditional sense of the word. Aiming is phenomenal with the gyroscope. Speaking of which, have I given a positive to the gyroscope controls yet? Because if I haven't, I need to. It is really awesome. Like it always is. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay, we'll go this way then, or not. Oh jeez, I'm just gonna run into the thing, aren't I? What? Ah! You've come at the request of the shop owner, have you? Well, I'm in her employ, part-time, so... Sorry to trouble you. See, those rocks are blocking the natural flow. I need to just destroy it. Well, okay, I guess I can do that. Just Ocarina of Time, Lazarus, which we played a couple days ago. Beef and bacon. I mean, you know. That's the worst burger I've ever heard of. I'm just kidding. You know what would be really awesome, though? Beef, bacon, and Swiss. With avocado, big chunks of tomato and onions. Some really crispy lettuce. What else? What else? It being stuck on a rock. Oh my god. I might literally be stuck. Oh, there we go. No. Okay, we're free. We're free. You say, we might be soft locked. Let's see, what else? Oh, that sounds pretty good to me. That's a good burger. Served on a nice lettuce bun. Bonk. I mean, if you want some... Oh, jeez. Some real meat with nothing else, just get some Makgora dire or Gorotar dire roast. And if you don't know what that is, you make me sad. You're gonna have to remind me, Pugity. Yeah, one of the things you can get around here is burgers that have been mixed with bacon and cheese. I actually don't care for those that much myself, but I know a lot of people like them. I prefer mixing things like garlic in there. Ah, yes, Pugity. Good job out there. Thank you. Give me the bombs. You have truly done us a great service. Now the shop can finally reopen. When we were closed, my boss's temper only got worse and worse. It was a rough time for us all. Oh, and another thing, I don't suppose she promised you anything special for this. Just the bomb bag, right? She tends to bribe people with whatever's lying around. She's still stingy, really. It's alright, I'll let her know you kept it. You got a second bomb bag. There's actually a third one, but I forget how to get that one. The second one's the important one. So now we can have bombs and specialized bombs. Now you're thinking, what's the difference? See, the problem is, those water bombs, I don't know if I made it clear, and I don't think you can really see here. Look, check this out. You can't tell. It's really small there, but I only have 15 of those. Whereas I have 30 of the actual bombs. So it's pretty much a straight matter of ammo, especially if we're doing things like the bomb arrows. I have used crushed garlic in burgers. On camera, Baron. Baron doesn't watch my Lord Dervs, guys. Let's see. So I did that, I did that. I haven't done that yet, so let's do that. Look, I've already said this, Shiny. Everyone wants Link. Everyone. Yes, Lord Dervs and Lord Devours are slightly different. I don't know why I'm hungry. I actually had a decent breakfast, or lunch, excuse me. No, Link's just an awesome dude. I love running through town as a wolf, by the way. Anyways. I know, I'm mean. Are the Zelda games connected? Yes and no. Some of the Zelda games are connected, some are not. Also, even the ones that are connected... Yes, they did, right. Even the ones that are connected are... there's two different types of connections. There's indirect sequels, where it's the same characters and same area, but it's just another story set in the same general vicinity. And then there's direct sequels, which is exactly what it sounds like. You know, the city guards flee from you, Blackfile. It's hysterical. So, for example, this game is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. And Wind Waker, the game we'll be playing next, is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. We meet again. This next is the greatest hidden skill I've taught you to this point. It may test the limits of your endurance. Before we do this, show me that you have mastered one of the most useful skills in the game. There is a reason for Link's name, Magister. Excellent. It appears you are certainly capable of performing my lost art. Very well, my fourth hidden skill is the Helm Splitter. This will actually be pretty useful in the Temple of Time. It's impossible to circle around and perform a backslice against fully armored enemies that move swiftly. Against such foes, you must first do a shield attack, and then lunge at them. That is a very useful skill, by the way. Impressive. Do not miss your chance to land the attack. Yes, for the 1000th time. Sorry, I feel like I'm repeating a lot of facts here. Please forgive me, everyone who's been watching since the beginning. Yes, that is the hero. Right there. That's the character from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. That's the guy we played as a few days ago. That would be cool, Poogity. Okay, let's go make some money. He is... Oh my god, so I've actually explained this. Of course I have, but... Yeah, we gotta go talk to Agatha real quick. Agatha! As of now, I have 2 bugs in my castle. Please do your best to find the partners. Alright, so... Originally... So, okay, there's 2 conflicting stories as to what actually caused the title, Magister. Answer number 1 is he is the link in between the player and the game, and it was a placeholder name and it's stuck. Answer number 2 was he is the link between the different games themselves, which was a placeholder name, and that stuck. Now, it's worth noting, they've been saying the first story for a while, but they only started saying the second story more recently. So I'm more inclined to believe the first story. It's also possible they're both true. What am I doing? I'm going the wrong way. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Let's make some money. What killed the hero of time? Nothing. Old age. There's no cheats for the Wii U, so no. I am incapable of cheating. Little ant, I might mistake you for a grain and put you in my cereal. What's funny is you're not really supposed to do this in one bundle for some reason. Even though it's most advantageous to do so. Little butterfly, I want to be wrapped up in that powder too. Tee-hee-hee. Because she is, Terra. Oh, she is. Have you ever seen her in Hyrule Warriors? Good God. A little dragonfly. Little dragonfly, little dragonfly. When you look at me with those great big eyes, I... You can fill in the gaps there however you want to. I don't even care. Oh, she would totally get along with the Addams family. I only played it on the Switch, Boogity, so... Ah, little pill bug, little pill bug. I wish I was smaller, so I could roll you around like a ball. Yeah, by the way, this is getting part of an aggregate negative. This is dumb. There is no reason for them to force you to do this manually, bit by bit. Each one is a separate menu action, which is technically 2 separate menu actions. And a little you got the thing every single time. This is not good design, especially for a collect-a-thon thing. Skulltulas didn't do this back in Ocarina. Little beetle, I want to use that shiny shell as a pillow and fall asleep. You're probably wondering why the hell I'm doing this. This is by far the best source of cash in the game. Like, by a wide margin. What's the significance of the bugs? She likes them. And she has lots of money. Hey, a stamp. Thanks. So now we leave. That is true, Jay, but honestly, I'd still like it to be an option, you know? Like, if I want to read them individually, I can. But, I'd like to also be able to just go through them, you know? As always, I'm kind of in favor of options when it comes to this sort of thing. Oh yeah, bug collecting is a weirdly big thing in Japan. I shouldn't say weirdly. It is a big thing in Japan. I mean, that was the inspiration for Pokemon, after all. 1,000 rupees short? No problem. Bam! We have collected enough funds to finance repairs to the bridge. Those corrupt price-gouging shops in Castletown are officially on notice. Soon they will rue. We hope you'll continue your financial support to sell products at discount. Ah, that is going to take a while, isn't it? Look at this! Ugh. Okay. Now we have to get 2,000 rupees. Jesus Christ, did they raise the price of this? I feel like they raised the price. Can someone do me a favor and look this up? Because I swear they raised the price of that. 2,000 rupees for the Malomart? That feels off. Hang on. I'm gonna look this up. So, yes, that's, Was it really 2,000? God, I don't remember it taking that long to do, really. I mean, yeah, I know it's kind of technically holding off the magic armor, but I really don't remember it being that big of a deal. Maybe I just... Because I know there's a lot of rupees in dungeons. Maybe that's how I did it. I don't know. But I do want to look up something here. Which is this. I was gonna say, I swear you can lower the price. That's what I'm trying to look up here. That's right. That's right. Yep, it gets reduced to 200 rupees if you do the... Okay, yep. Okay. Yep. We literally talked to this guy, right here. You made a donation, did you not? I am far-sighted in all things, my brother. It is strange, even though they say the bridges have been repaired, my young one in Castletown fails to return. I'm sure he's hanging his head somewhere on the east gate at this moment. Here's the plan, my brother. I will prepare some hot spring water and you will douse him. This quest can suck. It's a timed quest, kind of like the, the get the item from point A to point B, things in Ocarina. And there's enemies in the way. Like those birds. Those birds suck. Now this is interesting. In the GameCube version, and I could be misremembering here, I swore I used to go just on the very outer edge of the area because there was no enemies here. You'll notice that the outer edge is covered in enemies. I wonder if they changed the layout just for this. Again, I could just be misremembering. No! And fail. Wow. So anyways, I thought I could make it without having to set it down. I failed. Yeah, the smart way to do this is to just set it down and shoot them. Speaking of which, I need this over here for that. There we go. Like I said, in the GameCube version, you just run on the edge and never encounter anything. And it's kind of a joke. Good night, Myron. What time is it here? Take two. That was fast. You have got to be kidding me! Pound ratings? Or, goddammit, I keep calling it pound. I've decided I need to destroy the world, ladies and gentlemen. Bang ratings, or bang rating, or bang reviews, or bang review. I think those are the only four we have set up right now. Actually, no, I think we set up bang positives or bang negatives as well. God damn it. I will kill you in your stupid face. I am not a monster. It already worked, Pugity. Calm down. Chill. Relax. It's okay. I actually specifically has it set up to prevent spamming. So it'll only show up once every few minutes. And Platy already did it. Who records these? You ever think about that? All of these are recorded by people. Yeah, Yeah, we're gonna hug the edge. This is silly. Wow! Thank you! Okay, say moo into this thing. Moo? There you go, thank you. Apparently I can't aim for Jack right now. One time I got there and I couldn't figure out how to get the water on him. Of course I do, Jay. I mean, first of all, I think it worked well in Breath of the Wild. I know that wasn't fully voiced, but I think voice acting worked in Breath of the Wild. Second of all, I've always said that good voice acting always adds to a work, in my opinion. Is that some Kakariko hot spring water you got there, brother? If you poured it on me, it'd restore my strength. God, I almost missed there. I feel rejuvenated. The smell, the heat. It's the spring water from back home. Well, I'm gonna get back to work and open up the shop. Peace. Remember traveling around like that in Majora's? Because that was awesome. Yeah, they're pretty fast. The Goron descendant? Help me out, Pokety. Oh, you mean the dude in... No, he didn't bother me all that much. I probably could have done a better job than he did, but... That's just a sign of how horribly terrible... I don't know. I don't remember it bothering me, no. But then again, I actually liked the way Zelda sounded, and I'm apparently the only one in the world who actually liked Zelda's voice actress in Breath of the Wild, so I don't know. It will probably continue to be her in Breath of the Wild, too. Whoops. Aw, so apparently that's Giovanni's girlfriend. Not him, the one she was talking to, obviously. I remember you, brother. Thanks to you, we're able to open up shop again. Special prize. Well, I don't have any money, I'm sorry. Let me go make some money really quick. Oh yeah, the bugs you catch actually start flying around in here, so the more you get, the more this gets a little bit crowded. Little grasshopper, little grasshopper. I'd love to tickle your belly all day long. That should be a torture option in Crusader Kings 2. Tickle torture. Now that probably sounds kind of like a joke, but actually tickle torture is a real thing and it's not funny, so I shouldn't joke about that. Moving on. A mantis. Little mantis, little mantis. If I had sickles like that, I could slice onions better. So we got a little more money. Yeah, I actually am not ticklish myself, Puggity. By contrast, I know someone, I haven't actually talked to her in several years, but I know someone who is extremely ticklish, like inadvertently jerking and accidentally kicking people ticklish. Oh, whoops, that's my bad. Let's see what happens. Let's drink this chew. Yay, it healed us. She's one of the rich people, Tara. If it gets cold, it'll just be ordinary water. One of my friends once joked that because I'm not ticklish and because I have such a high pain tolerance, that I just don't feel anything. That's not true, of course, but it amused me. So why don't you want it, shiny waifu Toki? If you don't mind my asking. Yeah, sure. Here you go, buddy. So he's gonna work at that for a while. I think we need the other one for this. Let me double check, though. Nope, I'm wrong. Probably not, Jay. Especially since the Borg were originally insects. And changed at the last second. Into cybernetics. Oh, a human. I'm Plum, but I don't need to talk to humans. Hello, 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 hello. I am Plum. I'm really excited about the latest attraction at the lake. Want to hear about it? It's all about popping balloons as you move towards the goal. It's stupendous. They're worth different points and points. If you break the same type of balloon or more, you get double the points, but only up to 10 times. You get something neat if you go over 10,000 points. Yeah. Thanks. Weirdo. Okay, now I don't understand, Shiny. I'm curious what about them working together wouldn't keep them platonic and professional. So I got those two. I got the... Where's the mantis? Oh, that one's way over there. Can I warp up there? Just real quick while I'm here. Nope, I don't have it yet. Let's warp up here. Nah, Jay, that's ridiculous. There would never be romance between Midna and Link. Ever. Then you know what would be really messed up is if Midna doesn't age, and Link, of course, does, so... What if she encounters a future Link? Yeah. So we're going to get one more thing here. And then we're finally going to go ahead and advance. So there's a lot of side quests in this game, far more than there are in Ocarina. And I'd say they're more fun. So that's 2 pluses we need to give to this game. 1 for side quests, same reason as Ocarina. Link's like in his 20s in this one, Jay. I don't know about in Breath of the Wild, he's probably equivalent. And we also need to give a positive for the gyroscopic aiming. remember how to get up here. I don't remember how to get up here. I don't even know why I asked the question. I was already getting the bombs ready to go, and then I was like, well, you know. Sigh. I've actually had a few people in my past think I was stupid because I'm prone to asking questions, even if I know the answer. Always kind of irritates me a little bit, actually. Oh no, it's a Poe! Which I don't care about. I do care about 50 rupees. I guess we could kill the Poe really quick to make this easier. Come on down. Come on down. Take that. Oh yeah, you can get the 20 Poes relatively easily. Guys, where the hell is this stupid thing? Oh, whoops. I'm in the wrong area. Eh! Whatever. I don't even remember the reward for the Poes quest line. Like the final reward for all 20. Oh no, it's the bottle, isn't it? It's the 4th bottle. And yeah, the fairy juice. The buff item. It's still not as good as Grandma's soup, which is just hysterical. I wasn't kidding the other day. Grandma's soup is the best healing and buff item in the entire franchise. Which is just hysterical. Yeah, most of the games where Zelda actually fights, like Smash or Hyrule Warriors, she's very mage-focused, which makes sense, but they also tend to focus on her sword play, which I find interesting because she only ever really wields a sword at all in a cutscene in this game. And she doesn't actually use the damn thing. God, I forget exactly what Grandma's soup does. It gives you a buff, and it's a full heal. I remember that. And I also remember it being a very nice buff. Where am I going? I'm going... there. Knew I was coming here for a reason. Oh god, it's my fangirls. Run! Thank God I don't have fangirls in real life. That would be terrible. Oh yeah, it also restores magic. I actually forgot about that. It restores magic and health, and it's an attack up. God, there's so many bugs in here now. Hey, Agatha. Brought you a bug. Which is funny, because that's exactly what she was in Spirit Tracks, which is the Zelda that is the most active by far in the franchise. Oh yeah, and the power of the gods. The power of the grandmas. God, sorry. We talked several times about what exactly Zelda gameplay should be when it came down to it. We came up with a few ideas. The problem is some of the actual you know, Link gameplay is pretty Zelda-y if you think about it. You know, the puzzle solving and whatnot. I mean, only one of the Zeldas even had the Sheikah training. Two of the Zeldas, sorry. Hey, buddy. You did me a favor the other day, brother. See, my young one in the Castletown's been revitalized and has resumed his business. Life has returned to both this village and Castletown. You're welcome. The second one would be Skyward Sword. The first Zelda. Thanks to all the bridges built, the trade route is secure, and we have saved money for the economic development of Castletown. But in order to reach our castle development, we still need 200 rupees. Whoops, I hit A too quickly. We have achieved our goal, brother. Today marks the day another legendary establishment is born. You should travel to Castletown later. Thank you for your cooperation, brother. Yeah, exactly. Oh. I mean, I'd be down as long as it's good, Cashel. I'm one of those people who thinks we should branch out a bit more with the Zelda franchise. Don't mistake me, I love a good Zelda game, but there's a lot of potential with this franchise that they just aren't even trying. Alright, so, we're gonna chop off after we do this. But I want to show you the most horrifying thing in the entire game. Unless it's time-gated, in which case we'll go ahead and start working on getting to the next dungeon. That's not what I meant. He's not the most horrible thing in this game. I suppose we should read the letter we just got. Let's see, what do we get here? Malomart, the hero of discounts, is finally open in Castletown. You've got all you need for that upcoming trip, and we offer it at unbelievable prices. Grand opening special, magic armor. Limit 1. Do you remember that uppity store we went into earlier? Buy one, get one. If I want one, then get one. Sell it to me. I'll take one, I'll take one. I don't really want one, but I'll take one, by gosh. Notice this is the same guy who worked here last time. You'll buy it now if you're smart at Malomart. Welcome, welcome. Grand opening sale going on at Castletown Money. 20% off, 30% off, of course. Why not? We look out for you, the hero of discounts. That is us. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his face. Gaze into his eyes. Hey, you can buy a stamp. And now things are actually, you know, a lot cheaper here, as you can see. So, yeah. 600 rupees. for the magic armor. I feel like there's something else that lowers the price on that, but that's a lot more manageable than 400,000. Watch his face. Watch his face as I do this. Behold his face. Behold the glory. No, I don't think he's brainwashed. I think he literally is just, how do I phrase this? Scum. And he just kind of switched paymasters as soon as the new guy bought things. So in other words, he was only snooty because the previous owner was snooty, and now he's that because of Mallow. So thanks, Mallow. Thanks, appreciate it. You'll notice, by the way, people are carrying bags with Mallow's face on them now. That's one of the changes in the town. Yes, Mallow tickle tortured him. Oh my god. Anyways. Oh yeah, right. Just remembering. We did a lot of side stuff there. I was trying to remember where the hell we were in the story. I believe we're about to go to the Arbiter's Grounds. Which means we're going to need some more gold. Rupees, whatever. They're the same thing. In 20 years, Mallow will run this town. And we will call him by his new name, Luther. I'm going to need 300 rupees, aren't I? I'm trying to think of a good way to get that.
Oh.
Oh my. I love all the meat she has for sale, by the way. Look at that, just hawks of it. You made it. How you been, honey? Mercy, but you have good timing. I was just talking about you.
Hey.
Hey, everyone. Introduce yourself. So here's the crew. Not all of them, but some of them. Remember what I told you before, honey? These are those friends I mentioned, ones who are trying to help with all the troubles in Hyrule. Actually, there's one more of us, but it's been a disturbing turn of events in the Western Desert. He's gone to check it out. He's an older man named Aru. If you happen to meet him, definitely take the time to talk to him, okay, honey? Hey, you came all the way here, honey. Why don't you relax a bit? Be more sociable, talk to those folks. They're a jolly bunch. Alright, so let's talk to the professor.
Hey.
Hello there, you must be Link, correct? I'm Shad. Wonderful to meet you. Telma told me you've been all that you've... Telma told me all you've been up to. You're rather formidable. I'm rather not, I'm afraid. Well, I'm formidable at book reading, but I lack, shall we say, physical skills. That said, if the history and legend of Hyrule are your cup of tea, I'm your fellow. If you're curious, just ask away. Okay, I'm curious. At the moment, I'm absolutely entranced by the sky beings known as the Oka. Yes, according to legend, Hyrule was made by the Hylians, who, as we all know, are the closest race to the gods. That's actually not true. But also, they're closest to a goddess, but not the three gods. Anyways, according to legend, long ago there was a race even closer to the gods. Some say these creatures made the Hylians. When they created the people of Hylia, they simultaneously created a new capital, a city floating in the heavens. They dwelt there, and some scholars believe this race still lives there, somewhere in the great sky. Sky beings, isn't that simply marvelous, old boy? What I wouldn't give to meet them. Yeah, they are very creepy looking, dude. Don't even. Yeah, what I find funny is the 4 goddesses have been around for a while, but the 5th wasn't invented until Skyward Sword. I am a Shay. I grew up in the mountains with my father, who was a knight in his own right. He taught me the arts of war as though I were his son. Of course, lessons in common courtesy were not part of the regime, so forgive me if I come across as rude. Listen, before I blab both your ears off, I want to tell you something. Snow Peak has the best dungeon in the game. I don't know much yet, but things happen there that happen on no other mountain I know of. Evil controls it. As soon as I know something more, I'll tell you. Until then, you should stay away, yeah? Yeah, okay, sure. Who's this incredibly mysterious figure? It's been a long time. Dun dun dun! Super big, amazing shock! Revelations to the extreme! Can I get at least one lore shock in chat, please? My wife Uli sent word to me. I've seen the children in Kakariko Village. And of course I heard of your adventures. I must thank you for your help with Colin, Link. I barely recognized him. In any case, I'm troubled by my own inaction. I want to help the cause. These friends here, I've had a connection with them for a long while. Like the others, I am gathering information. I will let you know if I hear anything. You've heard anything? Have you heard anything? He hasn't heard anything. Ah, well. How's Ilya doing, honey? I'm sure the shaman will find a way to get her memory back. I hope not. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah. And he wants us to take a look at the map so we can see that Auru is right there. Oh, hey. He's on his break. There's a chair, like, right there, dude. What to order? What to order? I do believe I will start with meat. Oh, that's what that is. Okay. Sorry. You don't like short shorts, Tara? Because I don't either. Who hates short shorts? We hate short shorts! Yeah, Bragwin can do short shorts, but not that dude. Gosh, I hope not, Boogity. Although it would make sense. But only if it branched off a fourth timeline. I'm kidding. Well, then we're gonna have to do some stabbing, Shiny Waifu. We all know we cannot tolerate people who have different opinions from us. They must be savages. Savages. Barely even human. I wonder if they even bleed. I thought it was about time for you to arrive. Hello, Auru. Master Link, is it? Do you know Telma, don't you? I'm Auru. I'm a part of the group that Telma kindly allows to meet at her bar. Heard all about your deeds from her. Now, you being a courageous youth, you've likely heard of the strange events in the desert and come to investigate, no? Or am I mistaken? You do know, don't you, Master Link? The Gerudo Desert once held a prison to hold the worst criminals this land has ever known. The criminal... Hey, someone got the reference! Thank you, Captain Vice. The criminals who were sentenced to death were sent to the underworld by a cursed mirror that was kept in the prison. Now the prison is condemned, and even the roads leading to the desert are impassable. This desert at the world's end, it still holds the cursed mirror and the malice of the doomed inmates. These old bones know the evil currently plaguing Hyrule is related to this wicked place, so I've come to learn the truth. Master Link, I must ask, what will you do now? Don't tell me you plan to enter the desert and confirm your suspicions with my own eyes. Oh yeah, by the way, notice he actually has an obvious Triforce symbol there. And yeah, he does look a lot like Rauru, but the only connection that I am aware of is the idea that he is probably a sage. But remember what I mentioned, the sages, even if they have the potential to be a sage, that has to be activated for them to actually become a sage. So it's probable that he is just a sage and hasn't been activated, because there's no sages that are activated in Twilight Princess. It's not a thing that happens. That's my best guess. I don't know otherwise. You see Lake Hylia? A man named Fear runs an amusement ride of sorts down there. Give him this. And bring money. Yep, I need to go get money. So... I'm not sure where else to get money right now. I should Probably shouldn't have done the Malomar thing, but I had to show off the Malomar. Come on. Yes and no, Poogity. But basically, yes, is the answer to your question. I'll talk about it when we get there, because there's actually some interpretation going on, because of course there is. Did I get that one? Did I get that one? Got the pill bugs. Oh, I forgot to get the snail. I don't think I can get the snail right now. I can get the... So hang on. I know, right, Poogity? Damn. Okay, that sucks. Good night, Poogity. I'm gonna go get some money. By which I mean... bugs. Yeah, we'll go get those too. I should have gotten the snail while I was there, then I'd be fine. Probably get the phasmids too. That should do it. I think we'll go ahead and cut off here, at least for the recording. So for those of you on YouTube,